Welcome everybody. We're at Flow Pilates and Yoga here in Tampa, Florida. Just to set the frame for how we're going into it. Vinyasa means a progression, it's a sequence, it's an opening, a heart, and a close. And that can be maybe a pose, like an entrance, a pose, an exit. It can be life. It can be you prepared yourself to come here. We're opening the class. We're going to have the class. We're going to close the class, and then you're going to exit and go back to life. That was a vinyasa. It was a one big vinyasa. And so like how you were describing teaching, it started to become more of the whole class was a vinyasa for you. It was just, I'm going to go with the flow, but there was still probably, at least even now, it's been developing, how do I open the class? How do I grab all of their attention in the beginning so that we can start succinctly and all synchronized? And then how do we close in a way that feels like I sealed the deal for them, like it's zipped up. You know, I'm not leaving them with, because the yoga is, especially this Hatha yoga, and it's kind of a violent, aggressive Hatha yoga. This isn't do one pose, okay, now relax. And then do another pose and then relax. Which is still aggressive because you're changing your body, and your body is resisting that, and you're conflicting with that, and then you resolve it somehow. But the vinyasa practice is there's no rest. It's just keep going until you're done. So it's for the warrior. The vinyasa yoga, the hatha yoga is for the warrior, your spiritual warrior. And you really unzip yourself. And it is to be taken seriously when you go back out into the world. You go back with your kids, right? You go back with family or business, any relationship, just the world in general, drivers out there. And notice how sensitive you are to any little disturbance to your peace, because you've just cracked this open and now you're going out into the world with your inner body exposed. And so zipping it up for people before class is over is important. That's closing the vinyasa. And that helps them be strong. You don't want them to have a recollection of when they went to your class and then they had an emotional breakdown after the class. And in some cases, we seek that. And in some cases, that's relieving. But in a lot of cases, it's just disturbing. And it's like, if I don't need to experience that, I don't want to. And then, touching upon some other things, you need to hear cues several times for it to really sink in. Every now and then, that's not the case. For example, right now, I can tell you're gripping your tongue. And so let go of your tongue. And I heard that cue once. I heard that cue once from Matt Fippen, who I just saw his post on, shout out Matt, he's in Los Angeles. He said once, let go of your tongue. And it went in deep. And now I've said it 10,000 times. And almost every time someone's like, how did you know? And it's, your mind is gripping when your tongue is gripping. Because it's unconscious. If the tongue is gripping, but you're not telling it to grip. So this is a secret of vinyasa yoga. Let go of your tongue. Now some people will say gently, like BKS Iyengar would sometimes say, gently touch the very tip of your tongue. I forget what it's called, but I guess it's like the anterior palate. The anterior heart, the front of the hard palate, right behind the top of the front teeth. Right? Yeah. It's right there. Gently touch your tongue tip there. That's useful, but if you try to do that through your vinyasa practice, and we're not all that practiced at vinyasa, it's very quickly going to become a gripping. And you're just going to be pressing the tongue on the roof. Or you're going to be suctioning the teeth with the tongue. Or the cheeks. And that's effort that doesn't need to be there. And it's a clue that there's something else going on in the mind. And if you can let go of your tongue, it will facilitate letting go of that thing that you're holding in the mind. That's kind of the philosophy of the Hatha Yoga, that when you change somebody's mind, you'll see it like in a therapist office or something. When somebody is relieved of the pressure of what they've been carrying, the burden of their memories or whatever, their posture changes. And so we in Hatha Yoga are changing the memory by accessing the posture first. We change our posture and then it'll change our mind. And a very easy, subtle way to do that is let go of your tongue. When you're listening to someone talk, or when you're practicing your postures, or you're meditating, let go of your tongue. They might tell you something different in martial arts too, like let the chi flow by gently touching. It's all about gentle. They're probably not saying smash your tongue onto the roof of the mouth and press it there with all your might, which ends up, you'll catch yourself in a posture just gripping. Let it go. So that's okay. Sometimes you'll hear a cue once and it'll stick. A lot of times you just got to hear it a whole bunch of times, and then it'll sink in, and hear it in different contexts. And so we don't ever worry about grabbing it all at once. We're going to start with becoming aware of the location of our adrenal glands. And then we're going to learn to gain more control over those adrenal glands. Anybody that does a lot of hot yoga after a while, maybe you haven't paid attention to it like this in this way, but after a while you actually, what you might call it is you acclimatize, but really you're gaining more and more control over your sweat glands. So that after a while, you can be in hot environments and not sweat as much, because you've learned to calm down when it's hot out and not be so responsive to the heat. So what if my skin is hot? I don't need to sweat. And your sweat glands is an endocrine gland. You're gaining mind coordination to an endocrine gland there. And you can do the same with any endocrine gland. Your pituitary gland, which governs your entire emotional state. Your adrenal glands, which will trigger fight-flight and make you a little more aggressive. It'll change your posture, it'll change what muscles you're engaging. Your thymus gland, change your immune response to sickness, and so on. Your salivary glands, your pineal gland when you meditate. All of these glands, your ovaries, your testicles, like these are glands that you can actually connect with, and this is what we're going to do through our breathing right now. And so I'll see you guys in the next video. Subscribe to the channel and join the Silent Flute, ninthflute.com.